Hi everyone, I'm Mindy and welcome to my channel. Now I always get asked, what do I do with my leftover foil after I've done some foiling with either the pre-printed polyglaze sheets or some pre-printed toner sheets. So today I'm going to show you exactly that, so you're not going to have any wasted foil. Now, one of the products I'm using today is going to be the Gina K Designs white polyglaze sheets. There are also toner sheets that are similar to this, but you would have a black background. Instead, mine are going to be white. Now, these are the white polyglaze sheets from Gina K Designs. They are brand new. You're going to get 5 sheets in a pack that are 8.5 by 5.5. And on the back, it does tell you how to use them. Now, what I'm going to show you here is what I like to do with any of my foil or my polyglaze sheets, and that is I take them right out of that package and put them in a protector. This is the same type of protector that I use for my stamp sets, and it's going to protect my sheets from any dust or dog hair that may be floating around. I'm going to bring in my Gina K Designs Fuse foiling system, or you can use your Mink machine or laminator. I'm setting mine to the setting 3, and I'm going to let that warm up. I have a ton of foil from Thermoweb, so I dug out this Lapis watercolor, which is a very kind of marbly background, and I'm going to use it with my, I think this is called Winter Snow polyglaze sheets. They have a bunch of snowflakes all over the background, and I also will have them linked down below. So I picked one of those sheets out. I'm taking my foil and I'm placing it over the top. Then I'm going to flip this over and trim off the excess. I don't really mind if there's excess foil. I just don't want any of that white polyglaze sheet showing. So the way to do this is you're going to take your polyglaze sheet and have it so the design is facing up. And then you would take your foiling sheet and have it so the design or the pretty side is facing up. That is the sandwich you're going to want to use when you're foiling. Now I also have another one of those winter snow backgrounds, and this time I'm going to be using Glass Slipper. So it's very, very shiny, really gorgeous. I figured I might as well do a couple backgrounds while I have my machine nice and hot. So I do take a Swiffer cloth, I dust over the back of the foil, and I dust over the back or the front of the polyglaze. Just in case, once again, I have any dust or dog hair floating around, which I typically do. So I'm going to take my protector sheet. I think this is one that came either with my Mink or the Gina K Designs Fuse foiling system. Thermoweb also sells some carrier sheets that you could use for this as well. Again, the sandwich is the design polyglaze facing up. Place your foil on top of that so the pretty side is facing up. And then run this through. And what that does is that our foil is going to adhere to that white, or not white, to the polyglaze. So it's that heat is going to apply that pressure. And then I'm going to take this out and set it off on the side. I'm going to give it a few seconds to cool off because it can be pretty warm. So I'll set that off on the side and I'm going to work on the other one. So this is got that snowflakes. I was tongue-tied for a second. Snowflakes. Again, now this one also has the Lapis watercolor, which is really fun and unique. And I'm going to place that over the top. I dusted it once again with my Swiffer cloth. And I'm going to put this in that carrier sheet. Now, my carrier sheet, I always make sure I have the fold going in first. That really is just to make sure that the rollers are not catching any of the loose ends of that carrier sheet. Now, I know that my fuse foiling system is ready because that green light is on the number 3. 3 seems to be the setting that works best for me. Now, while that's running through, I can peel back my foil, and now I have this gorgeous snowflake background. Really hard to see on camera, of course, with foil, but the shine is amazing. But I'm going to set that off on the side. I really want to pay attention or draw attention to that leftover foil because there is a lot of foil going on there, and it has a gorgeous design on it. So now I'm taking my other one, came through the back of the machine. I can remove that from the carrier sheet. I'll let that cool off for a few seconds, and then I can remove the foil on this one. Now this one's also going to be hard to see right now, unless you were to do ink blending over the top, would be really gorgeous. And then you would see more of that marbling look on the snowflakes. And now here is where the magic is going to happen. So we're going to bring out the white poly glaze sheets. Now, like I said, there are black toner sheets. They're full black panels that ThermoWeb carries. They've had them for a long time. And what that would do is leave black in the open areas. But a lot of times, and I've seen the requests come through of people wanting white. And so this is going to solve that problem for you. But it's like a never-ending story, and you'll see why here in just a moment. Now, I trimmed my panel in half, so it is 4¼ by 5½. Once again, kind of dusting over the back of my foil, the top of my polyglaze sheet, and then placing that leftover foil over the background. So you can see how the snowflakes are showing through to that white, and it is gorgeous. I am so excited that Gina came out with these. You could also take a piece of foil and just foil an entire panel if you wanted to do that as well. So I'm placing this through my fuse. I'm going to run that through the machine, and I'm going to go ahead and prep my other piece. So I can kind of multitask because it does take a few seconds to run through the fuse foiling system. I'll let that slide through the back, and I'm not going to grab it or forcefully pull it out. Just let it kind of come out on its own. I'll take that out, set it off on the side to cool for a few seconds, grab my carrier sheet, and do this one as well. Now, this is the one where the leftover foil is glass slipper. So there is going to be just a whole ton of shine going on these cards, but they are so beautiful, and it's such a really easy process. Now here I'm going to go ahead and remove, this is that Lapis watercolor background. So gorgeous. And when I peel this up, look at that. That sheet I'm peeling up is completely clean, which means all of my foil transferred beautifully to the white poly glaze. So here we have all of that white showing through. I'm going to bring this up closer to the camera so you can see that background. I usually work with solid colors, but I thought for a snowy background, this watercolor one would look really pretty, and it really is. There's a few different varieties over on the ThermoWeb website if you wanted to check that out. I have a couple variations of foil that I'm going to use today that I don't normally use. Now here is the glass slipper. Again, I'm peeling up that protector sheet. Completely clean, everything transferred just so beautifully, crystal clear. No foil is left over on that sheet. Now keep in mind that that white that's showing through, that is still poly glaze. So you could really continue foiling. You can grab another piece of foil, place it over the top. Maybe you want gold snowflakes would stand out a little bit from the background. This one, I believe I have an iridescent. I didn't want to do anything too like stars sparkly type of thing. I wanted something a little bit more solid to try and rein in that background a little bit. So this is an iridescent. Again, trimmed it to the size of my panel, maybe just a little bit bigger. Run it through the machine, and wherever there is white showing, which is the white poly glaze, that is where my foil is going to transfer to. So this really can just be a continuous cycle of using all of your leftover foil. You could have tons of snowflake cards if you're making Christmas cards or tags. You could use this for tags. It really is just a never-ending process. I did have to stop myself at some point, so I have some backgrounds that I'm just going to kind of tuck off on the side for later. I will make some two cards out of those later on. But here is something I wanted to show you. I found this in my stash. This is the Rainbow Shattered. There's different kind of printed designs of rainbow. I don't think I've ever used Rainbow Shattered foil before, so I thought I would give this a try, and I used it with the Lush Leaves Stencil Mate. So this is actually meant to go with a stencil, and it has the white poly glaze lines. There are some that have black lines, but I used white, so all of that color transferred onto the leaves. Now, I'm putting that off on the side. That is not the piece I really wanted to work with. I'm going to work with that leftover foil because we have so much left. It's a gorgeous background, and wherever there's open areas is going to be the white poly glaze. So it's going to be a white outline of leaves, and it is so gorgeous. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this panel yet. I just wanted to try it because there was just so much leftover foil. So this one is definitely going into my to save pile. So at some point I had to cut myself off and put my fuse foiling system away, and I'm going to work on finishing a couple of the cards for you using that snowflake background. Now my first one here, I have a piece of white cardstock that is 4¼ by 5½, and I'm going to die cut out the, I think it's Peace, Love, and Joy cover plate from Gina Designs. I'm just going to center that on my cardstock, hold that down with low tack tape, and I'm going to run this through my intricate die cut machine from Gina Designs. I have my cutting mat on the bottom. I place it so the cutting lines of the die are face down, and then the platform on the top, and I run that through on the die cut settings. Then I'll take my craft pick and I'm going to just poke out each of those letters. So for this one, I do plan on using on a card front. I'm going to take that foiled panel. Now this is the one with the glass slipper. I'm going to use my Master Layouts 2 to die cut out my panel. And this is going to not only give me a beautiful background, but a little bit of an edge going around my cover or the cardstock I die cut from the cover plate. So I flipped that over and I'm placing some foam strips all the way around the edge of the panel and then kind of here and there on that background just to make sure that it is supported throughout the entire back of that panel. I'll remove the backing on those foam strips and place that onto my foiled background. So that kind of tones down that background a little bit since there is so much shine going on, which is absolutely gorgeous, but I do like to kind of rein it in. And then I'm just bringing these additional pieces into the O, the A, and the P, pop those up as well to fill in my letters. For the background where I used the Lapis watercolor, I die cut that from the Master Layouts 2 die set as well. And then I'm adding foam tape behind that. And I'm going to pop this up on a piece of heavyweight white cardstock that is measured 4¼ by 5½. It's going to give me that nice white border around the edge. I'm going to use the negative, positive pieces. I can't remember. It spells out the word joy. I used it from that cover plate and I popped those up with some foam tape as well. Now for this one, I want to put joy right in the middle of the card and I'm using a T-square ruler to help me get the alignment straight. So I placed everything on there first and then I'm going to start with the letter O using my reverse tweezers, of course, remove the backing of the foam tape and then started attaching my letters. So this is going to kind of pop that up a little bit from the background. I love the simplicity of the sentiment. And also I'm seeing a lot of that watercolor background foil. Now, like I said, all the other backgrounds I had done, the Lush leaves and those, I am going to save for some additional card projects later in the future. I just really wanted to focus today on what you can do with your leftover backgrounds that you used for foiling. And also keep in mind, these foils that I'm going to be linking down below is meant to be used with either your laminator or your Mink or your fuse machine. This is not for the Spellbinders Glimmer Hot Foil system. So I will have everything linked down below in the video description and over on my blog as well. And if you're catching this in real time, there is a lot of these places are having sales right now. So you might be able to find some of these products with great discounts. Thank you so much for stopping by today, and I will see you again real soon.